Let's take you back to the big story this morning. Following weeks of negotiations, President Cyril Ramaphosa finally announcing his Government of National Unity cabinet yesterday. Already DA leader John Steenhuisen, who's been given the agriculture portfolio, has given a media briefing this morning to say that they will take their place in government fully cognizant of the road ahead. Economics and the markets, of course, form a big part of moving South Africa forward. And to get reaction on that front, let's bring in Dr Iraj Abedian, who joins us now via our video link, of course, an economist. Dr. Abedian, lovely to see you and to get your take, on these issues as always. So, of course, when we look at the economics cluster, it seems that Enoch Godongwana has managed to retain his position, but he is not alone. He's deputized, of course, by a DA deputy minister. How do you reckon this will all unfold?
Good morning, and our viewers. I think generally the economic cluster is in a much better hand now. Minister Godongwana has established a credibility in the market slowly, and his deputy, Dr Musando, is a very respected deputy minister, active and involved. And having another deputy minister is something to be seen. We don't know how the new deputy minister will perform, but generally it's the fact that the continuity in this key department is maintained is a very positive thing. Of course, this department is at the heart of make or break of GNU or any other government for that matter. There are huge macroeconomic challenges that the National Treasury has to steer. Most importantly, countries' credit rating, grey listed, all of that falls under this department, and it requires top priority with immediate effect. So that's a good thing. At the same time, the new Minister of Trade and Industry is a positive move. Unfortunately, the previous minister did not glorify himself and caused a lot of damage to the department and to its agencies. However, the new minister has got a big mountain to climb. He has to not only establish his own credibility, but also very quickly get key agencies in this department under proper management and build the capacity that is desperately lacking.
Yeah, Pakistan, of course, heading up now the Trade, Industry and Competition Ministry. He's worked his way through the ranks in a number of government positions, all the way from local government, provincial, and ultimately now at a national government level. We know that the markets also typically look out for things like policy certainty, you know, having all these ministers hopefully singing from the same hymn book and moving us in a singular direction. Given the fact that, as you can see there, the DA is also part of this ministry, they're also in finance as one of the two deputies. How worried are you that we will be able to get that policy certainty in order to obviously have the kind of clarity the markets needs around where South Africa is headed?
And that is our topmost, not our national topmost priority, but President Ramaphosa's literally make or break of his legacy for South Africa is going to be exactly that point of, can he coordinate, can he navigate across this ideological, emotional, political, historic, you name it. He's got his hand full. However, we know that President Ramaphosa may have many shortcomings, but his strengths in terms of his approach, personality, is negotiation and coordination. So I think I'm optimistic that he will learn from his ponderous failures of the past and focus, put timeline, and bring these very diverse ministers and diverse not in terms of ideological perspectives, but also lack of experience. Some of them haven't been in executive positions at all. From not just the AA and other parties, even within the ANC, there are very unknown and untested political leaders. Now, I'm not referring to Parks or Parks Tao, Minister of Trade and Industry, but a whole lot of others. So the president's success is going to be precisely that, to put coordination, put timeline, and put norms or terms of engagement. We cannot turn these ministries into a fighting battle between deputy ministers and ministers just because one comes from DA, one comes from ANC or IFP or any other GNU members. Yeah. The issue is the country and the economy and the welfare of the nation should be the principle, uncompromising principle. If they focus on that, then coordination becomes a lot easier.
Absolutely. Another important ministry, of course, is that of small business development. Stellan Ndabeni-Abrahams returns to that portfolio, deputized, though, by Jane Sithole, also from the DA. So no coherence insofar as the parties are concerned in that portfolio as well. But let's speak about Stellan Ndabeni-Abrahams. As I mentioned, she comes back to this position. Do you reckon this is just a politically strategic appointment or one based on merit?
I think I'm not a politician, but if I was going to take a guess, it's about a balancing of gender equality within the cabinet. It's about representing the women, very important constituency within the ANC, and also age. The fact is that ANC ministers in the previous administrations, they were way past their economic life and usefulness. So you need to bring and build new capacity. Looking into the future, the ANC, much like all other parties, they need to build succession planning. They need to bring people who have the modicum of capacity and commitment to build their experience and their capacity to profile them. And I think in that context, she returning to this ministry should be put in that context, and it's a good thing. At least he doesn't have to spend the next 6 months learning what the department is about. She has a bit of history, and that helps her to get off the ground quicker and focus on service delivery.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we've been asking the question around what's the one thing that people would advise these different ministers to focus on. And whenever we speak about the state of the economy, we often end up speaking about the country's unprecedented unemployment rate. And usually we're told that in order to get that sorted out, entrepreneurship needs to be fostered and harnessed and, essentially supported in our country. I suppose with that in mind, Dr. Abedian, I wonder what your kind of advice would be to Stellan Ndabeni-Abrahams about how we can finally get entrepreneurship going in our country.
I think my advice to this minister, as well as all other ministers, is cut down on the red tape, cut down on the admin and on the frills and the blue lights. Focus on what the economy that you are, or section of the economy that you are in charge, requires. The small business is an important part of any economy, especially in our economic structure. To the extent that small and medium businesses have been crying for 20 years and nobody has heard their cries, including the government sector, that does not pay them on time, that does not treat them properly. All these issues have to be sorted out. So focus on those issues, put timelines for it, and stop justifying failures. Instead, focus on ways and means of success. That is what people expect from you.
Loud and clear, from your lips to their ears. Dr. Iraj Abedian, as always, great to have you in the program. Thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Dr. Iraj Abedian, of course, is with the Pan-African Investment and Research Services.